3 synchronicities people ignore the most, but they're the best gifts ever. When we talk about synchronicities, most people think of angel numbers, déjà vu, or those strange moments when they think of someone and that person suddenly calls. But what if I told you that the most powerful synchronicities, the ones that can change your life forever, are often the ones you ignore? The ones that slip through your awareness because they don't look like miracles, they don't come wrapped in neon signs, and they don't always feel good when they happen. These synchronicities are the best gifts the universe could ever give you, but because they don't fit the mold of what we expect, we dismiss them, overlook them, or worse, resist them. And yet, if we recognize them for what they truly are, they could unlock doors to realities we never imagined possible. Think about this: how many moments in your life felt like obstacles, only for you to later realize they were exactly what you needed? How many times have you cursed a delay, a loss, a rejection, only to look back years later and say, "That was the best thing that ever happened to me"? What if I told you that these moments were not accidents, that they were finely tuned synchronicities designed to shift you onto a higher path, a better timeline, a version of your life that you wouldn't have reached otherwise? The problem is, we don't see them as synchronicities when they happen. We see them as bad luck, misfortune, or random inconveniences. But there are no accidents. There never were.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The first synchronicity people ignore the most is delays and disruptions. We live in a world obsessed with speed, with control, with making things happen on our own terms. So when something doesn't go according to plan, when we hit resistance, when things slow down, when obstacles appear, we immediately assume something is wrong. We get frustrated, we push harder, we fight against the flow. But what if every delay in your life was actually divine timing in disguise? What if every roadblock was a redirection, a way to prevent you from walking straight into something that wasn't meant for you? You don't see the accident that would have happened if you left 5 minutes earlier. You don't see the opportunity that wouldn't have existed if things had gone exactly as you wanted them to. You don't see the unseen forces rearranging reality for your highest good. Imagine this: you're late for an important flight. Everything that could go wrong does: traffic, long lines, unexpected delays. You're furious, convinced the universe is working against you. But what you don't know is that missing that flight saved your life. What you don't see is that, because of that delay, you ended up sitting next to someone on the next plane who would change your life forever. This is how the universe works. It doesn't always explain itself in the moment. It doesn't always give you immediate proof. But if you start trusting the delays, if you start seeing them as whispers from the divine rather than punishments, your entire life will shift. The second synchronicity people ignore is sudden endings. The loss of a job, the collapse of a relationship, the betrayal of a friend. These are the moments that shake us to our core, the moments that feel unfair, cruel, even unbearable. But what if they were not endings at all? What if they were initiations, transitions, ways of clearing space for something greater? The universe does not take things from you without reason. It does not remove people from your life unless they are no longer in alignment with where you are going. The problem is, we cling. We hold on to things long after they have served their purpose. We fear change, even when change is the very thing we need. Think about the last time something ended abruptly in your life. Maybe it was painful. Maybe you didn't understand why it had to happen. But now, looking back, can you see the perfection in it? Can you see how that ending forced you into a new beginning? Can you see how it shaped you, how it redirected you, how it taught you something you never would have learned otherwise? When something ends, Do not fight it. Do not resist it. Do not beg for it to stay. Instead, ask yourself, what is this making space for? What am I being prepared for? Because the universe only removes what is no longer meant for you. And if you trust that, you will never fear losing anything again. The third synchronicity people ignore is random encounters with strangers. We underestimate the power of a single conversation, a single meeting, a single moment of connection with someone we may never see again. But what if I told you that every person you cross paths with is part of a greater design? What if I told you that the stranger who gave you unexpected advice, the old friend you randomly ran into, the person who appeared just when you needed guidance, what if these were not coincidences? What if they were messages, guides in disguise, placed in your path for a reason? Think back to a time when a stranger said something to you that stuck with you. Maybe it was a cashier at a store, a person sitting next to you on a bus, a random individual who showed up just when you needed them. Can you remember what they said? Did it change something inside you? Did it shift your perspective, even in the smallest way? These moments are not accidents. The universe speaks through people, through interactions, through seemingly random encounters. But most of us are too distracted to notice. We are too caught up in our own thoughts, our own worries, our own routines, that we miss the messages being delivered to us every single day. So the question is, are you paying attention? Are you seeing the synchronicities, or are you dismissing them? Are you trusting the flow of your life, or are you resisting it? Because the truth is, the universe is always communicating with you, always guiding you, always aligning things for your highest good. But it is up to you to listen. It is up to you to trust. It is up to you to trust. It is up to you to recognize that the things you once saw as obstacles, as endings, as random events, these were actually the greatest gifts you were ever given. Now, if you're ready, let's go even deeper. What happens when you finally start listening to these synchronicities? What happens when you stop ignoring the signs and start following them with full trust? The answer is more powerful than you can imagine. Let's continue. The hidden language of the universe, what happens when you finally start listening? Most people go through life believing that everything is random, that events just happen, that people come and go for no reason, that delays, endings, and encounters are just meaningless coincidences. But the moment you start seeing the patterns, the moment you start recognizing the synchronicities, something inside you shifts. You begin to realize that life is not happening to you, it is happening for you. Every moment, every interaction, every so-called obstacle is part of a greater design, a blueprint that is guiding you towards something far beyond your current understanding. But here's the truth: most people never reach this level of awareness because they are too busy resisting the very things that are trying to help them. Have you ever noticed how, when you ignore the small signs, the universe starts making them louder? At first, it whispers a gentle nudge, a subtle feeling, a quiet knowing. But if you don't listen, the signs become stronger, and the delays become bigger. The endings become more painful. The encounters become impossible to ignore, because the universe does not give up on you. It does not stop trying to guide you. And if you refuse to pay attention, it will shake your reality until you have no choice but to wake up. Think about a time in your life when everything seemed to fall apart. When you lost something or someone you thought you couldn't live without. When every door seemed to close on you. When no matter how hard you tried, things just wouldn't go your way. At the time, it probably felt like the worst thing that could have happened. But now, looking back, can you see the perfection in it? Can you see how that breakdown led to a breakthrough? Can you see how it forced you to become someone you never would have become otherwise? This is how synchronicity works. It does not always feel like a blessing in the moment. But if you learn to trust it, if you learn to lean into the unknown instead of resisting it, you will begin to move through life with the kind of effortless flow that most people will never experience. The moment you start listening to synchronicities, your reality shifts in ways that are almost impossible to explain. You begin to notice that the right people appear at the right time, that opportunities arise just when you need them, that things fall into place in ways that your logical mind could never have planned. You begin to realize that you are not creating your reality through force, you are aligning with it through awareness. But here's the part that most people miss: listening to synchronicities does not mean you just sit back and wait for life to happen. It does not mean you avoid making decisions or taking action. It means you learn to move with the flow instead of against it. It means you learn to recognize when something is meant for you and when it is not. It means you develop a deep sense of trust, not just in the universe, but in yourself, in your intuition, in your ability to read the signs that are constantly being given to you. Let's go deeper. What does it actually look like to live in alignment with synchronicity? Imagine waking up every day with a sense of excitement, knowing that the universe is constantly conspiring in your favor. Imagine moving through life without fear, without doubt, because you know that every delay, every ending, every encounter is leading you exactly where you need to be. Imagine being so deeply connected to your intuition that you don't have to overthink every decision. You just know when something is right and when it isn't. This is not some mystical fantasy. This is how life works when you stop ignoring the signs, when you stop second-guessing your intuition, when you stop trying to control everything and instead trust that things are unfolding perfectly, even when they don't seem to be. But here's the challenge: are you willing to let go of your need for certainty? Are you willing to release your attachment to how you think things should be so that something even greater can unfold? Because the reason most people struggle with synchronicity is not that the signs aren't there, it's that they don't want to trust them. They want proof. They want guarantees. They want to know exactly how everything will turn out before they take a step forward. But that is not how the universe works. Synchronicity requires faith. It requires you to move before you have all the answers. It requires you to trust the feeling in your gut more than the logic in your mind. And this is where most people get stuck. They see the signs, they feel the pull. They know deep down that they are meant to go in a certain direction, but fear stops them. Doubt stops them. The need for control stops them. And so they stay where they are, ignoring the very synchronicities that were meant to guide them towards something greater. So let me ask you, how many signs have you ignored in your life? How many times have you felt a deep inner knowing but talked yourself out of it? How many times have you let fear keep you from following the path that was being laid out for you? And what would happen if, just for once, you decided to trust it? Because here's the truth: your life could change in an instant if you started paying attention. The answers you've been searching for are already in front of you. The opportunities you've been waiting for are already within reach. The guidance you've been asking for has never stopped coming. The question is, are you ready to listen? The art of co-creation: how to work with synchronicities instead of just noticing them. Recognizing synchronicities is one thing. Understanding them is another. But the real magic happens when you learn how to work with them, to move beyond passive observation and step into active co-creation with the universe. This is where everything changes. This is where life stops feeling like a series of random events and starts feeling like a beautifully orchestrated dance between you and the unseen forces that guide your path. Most people notice synchronicities but don't know what to do with them. They see repeating numbers, they experience strange coincidences, they meet the right people at the right time, but then they hesitate. They overanalyze, they doubt. They wait for even more signs before they take action. And in that hesitation, the opportunity passes. The door closes. The window of alignment shifts. Because synchronicities are not just signs to observe, they are invitations to move. Imagine this: you're thinking about making a big life change, maybe moving to a new city, starting a new career, or leaving a relationship that no longer serves you. You ask the universe for clarity, for confirmation that you're on the right path. And suddenly you start seeing signs everywhere. A conversation with a stranger leads directly to the topic you've been contemplating. A book falls off a shelf with the exact message you needed to hear. An unexpected opportunity arises that aligns perfectly with your desires. These are not just random occurrences. These are answers. These are the universe's way of saying, yes, go, move. But what do most people do? They hesitate. They think, maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe I need more proof. Maybe I should wait a little longer. And in that waiting, the energy shifts. The alignment fades. The door that was wide open begins to close. Because synchronicities are not meant to be studied endlessly, they are meant to be followed. Think about a moment in your life when you knew you were supposed to take action, but you didn't. When everything pointed you in a certain direction, but you let fear, doubt, or uncertainty hold you back. What happened? Did the opportunity pass? Did the energy fade? And have you ever wondered what would have happened if you had just trusted it? This is the difference between those who live in flow and those who feel stuck. It's not that some people are luckier than others. It's not that the universe favors certain individuals. It's that some people listen and act while others hesitate and overthink. The ones who seem to move effortlessly through life are not the ones who receive the most synchronicities, they are the ones who trust them the most. But how do you actually work with synchronicities? How do you move from passive awareness to active co-creation? It all comes down to three things: trust, speed, and alignment. Trust is the foundation of everything. If you do not trust the signs you are receiving, you will always hesitate. You will always second-guess yourself. You will always fall back into the illusion that you must figure everything out on your own. But synchronicities exist because you are not alone. They exist because there is a greater intelligence guiding your life, an intelligence that sees far beyond what your logical mind can comprehend. The moment you start trusting this intelligence, truly trusting it, is the moment everything begins to shift. Speed is the key to keeping the momentum alive. When you receive a synchronicity, act on it immediately. Do not wait for a second, third, or fourth sign. The first sign is the confirmation. The first sign is the green light. When you hesitate, you disrupt the flow. When you act quickly, you stay in alignment with the rhythm of the universe. This does not mean you need to make reckless decisions. It means that when your intuition and the external signs align, you move. No delays, no doubts, no waiting for perfect conditions. Because the truth is, perfect conditions do not exist. The only thing that exists is the present moment and the opportunity that is being given to you right now. Alignment is what ensures that you are receiving the right synchronicities in the first place. If you are unclear about what you want, if you are sending mixed signals to the universe, your synchronicities will also be mixed. This is why some people feel like they receive conflicting signs. It's not that the universe is confused, it's that they are. When you are clear on your desires, when your energy is aligned with your highest path, the synchronicities you receive will also be clear. They will be unmistakable. They will guide you with precision. But you must first get into alignment yourself. So how do you know if you are in alignment? Pay attention to how you feel. When you are in alignment, synchronicities come easily. They feel effortless. They feel like gentle nudges rather than desperate shouts. When you are out of alignment, Synchronicities feel confusing, inconsistent, or even absent altogether. This is because the universe is always responding to your energy. If you are unclear, the signs will be unclear. If you are in fear, the signs will reflect uncertainty. But if you are in a state of trust, clarity, and openness, the signs will be undeniable. Think about the last time everything seemed to flow effortlessly in your life. When things just clicked, when opportunities appeared out of nowhere. When the right people showed up at the right time. This was not luck. This was alignment. And the more you cultivate this state, the more synchronicities will appear, not because the universe suddenly starts supporting you, but because you finally start supporting yourself. So the question is, are you willing to trust? Are you willing to move without needing all the answers? Are you willing to stop waiting for the universe to prove itself to you and instead start proving to yourself that you are ready? Because the truth is, the universe has never stopped guiding you. The only question is whether you are willing to follow, living in the flow when synchronicity becomes your natural state. There comes a point when synchronicity is no longer something you just notice, it becomes something you live. Instead of seeing signs and wondering what they mean, instead of hesitating and questioning whether you should trust them, you simply move. You flow. You understand, at the deepest level, that life itself is a constant dialogue between you and the universe. The separation between you and the divine dissolves, and you realize that you were never just a passive observer of reality, you were always a creator, always a co-author of the story unfolding before you. When you reach this level, life stops feeling like an uphill battle. You no longer feel like you have to force things to happen. You no longer waste energy trying to control outcomes. You no longer fight against timing, against endings, against redirections. But instead you trust, you listen, you respond. And in doing so, you begin to experience a reality that most people never will, a reality in which everything flows effortlessly toward you, not because you are chasing it, but because you are aligned with it. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who seem to move through life with ease, the ones who always seem to be in the right place at the right time, the ones who attract opportunities, relationships, and success without struggle. Do you think they are just lucky? Do you think they have something you don't? They don't. The only difference between them and the people who feel stuck is that they are in flow. They are not waiting for permission. They are not waiting for certainty. They are not waiting for their circumstances to change before they start moving. They trust the process. They trust themselves. And because of that, life responds to them in ways that seem almost magical. But here's the truth. This is not magic. This is alignment. This is what happens when you stop resisting and start allowing. When you stop overthinking and start trusting. When you stop waiting for things to be perfect and start moving with the energy that is already guiding you. So how do you reach this state? How do you make synchronicity your default way of living instead of just an occasional experience? The answer is simple, but not always easy. You surrender. Not in the sense of giving up, but in the sense of letting go of the need to control everything. You surrender your attachment to how you think things should be and allow them to unfold as they are meant to. You surrender your fear of the unknown and trust that the unknown is where the magic happens. You surrender your belief that you have to struggle to receive what is meant for you and instead choose to believe that what is meant for you will always find you if you are open to it. This does not mean you stop taking action. It does not mean you sit back and wait for life to hand you everything on a silver platter. It means that your action comes from a place of trust rather than desperation. It means that you move with the energy instead of against it. It means that you stop forcing doors open that were never meant for you and instead walk through the ones that are already open, waiting for you to step inside. Imagine living in this state every single day. Imagine waking up and knowing, without a doubt, that you are exactly where you are meant to be. Imagine no longer second-guessing your decisions because you trust that every choice, every experience, every moment is guiding you toward your highest path. Imagine feeling completely supported by life, as if the entire universe is conspiring in your favor because it is. This is not something reserved for a select few. This is not something you have to spend years meditating in a cave to achieve. This is available to you right now. The only thing standing between you and this way of living is your own resistance, your own doubt, your own belief that life has to be hard, that things have to be complicated, that you have to struggle before you can receive. Let go of that belief and everything will change. So the question is, are you ready? Are you ready to stop fighting against the flow and start moving with it? Are you ready to stop ignoring the signs and start trusting them? Are you ready to live in a state of synchronicity so natural, so effortless, that you never again have to wonder if you are on the right path because you know you are? If you are, then let this moment be the turning point. Let this be the moment you decide to stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop questioning the guidance you are receiving. The universe is speaking to you. It always has been. The only question that remains is, will you finally listen?